lot of pain. Just want to get this over with.
This is me. Or it was me, when I was about 10 years old. You see, I was an overweight child. The fat kid in my grade. A teddy bear. My idea of a good time at this age was a 10-hour Cartoon Network marathon and a family-sized bag of Doritos.
Can I have one? Nope.
My fears included running in gym class and taking off my shirt at the pool. I got picked on a lot for my weight, by other kids and adults. This kind of made me not like myself. But things weren't all bad. I learned a lot of important lessons early on. Mostly, I learned humility. I knew I probably wasn't ever going to be rich or famous. I wasn't going to cure cancer or solve world hunger. There was no way I would ever be an athlete or have a six-pack. I would probably never have a girlfriend. I would never cut my glorious Justin Bieber hair, and I certainly would never ever do something crazy like run a marathon.
I'm just trying to raise your love. The Jesus of Suburbia, the Bible love. None of the above. Only steady tired up.
This is a film about limiting beliefs, so let's talk about that. What are limiting beliefs? According to Google, the first recorded use of the phrase limiting beliefs was in 1889. Then there's a long period of time where no one talks about them, then a big spike in the 90s. The roaring 90s, baby. Stocks were booming, jobs were plentiful, and people felt empowered. They were ready to take their lives into their own hands.
Oh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Oh, baby,
They just needed someone to tell them how to do it.
Yeah, baby, I like it raw.
The Anthony Robbins Live, author of the international bestsellers Unlimited Power and Awaken the Giant Within. You've seen him on national television. Now's your chance to see him live. Monday, January 11th at the Ottawa Congress Center.
I thought all problems are behavioral problems. By changing our behaviors, we could change the entire world. We have that ability as humans. Anytime you change the way you're picturing things, or you say to yourself, hey, I can make this happen, it physically changes the way your body starts to work.
Motivational speaker Tony Robbins had a meteoric rise in the 90s and 2000s. This guy was larger than life. I mean, literally, the guy is huge.
I know my size is alarming, but do not fear me.
One of Tony Robbins' core concepts is how our beliefs shape our reality. Did you get that? Our beliefs shape our reality. So a limiting belief is something we believe about ourselves that is holding us back. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. There's a myriad of reasons why we may have limiting beliefs. Maybe one of your parents bullied you for the things that you liked when you were a kid. Maybe a teacher told you weren't smart enough. Maybe you were last picked for kickball at recess. Despite the causes, limiting beliefs usually start in childhood. And they're probably unconscious to you, because they're not tangible. They manifest themselves in the things we don't do, the dream we never pursue, the goals we don't stick to, the risks we don't take. So to overcome limiting beliefs, we have to do something we've never done before.
So I just completed my first 10K since I started training for this marathon, and that was tough. Hopefully it gets easier.
It did eventually get easier, but not before it sucked for a long time. Last year, I made it one of my New Year's resolutions to become part of 0.01% of the world's population and run my first ever marathon. Well, you know how it goes. The months passed and suddenly it was September and I hadn't ran once. So I started training. It was pretty cool at first. I was out of shape, yeah, but at least I was out in nature breathing fresh air. But then I moved to Mexico. At first I spent a few weeks in Cancun and then Mexico City. When I made it to my final destination in the mountains, I realized that fresh air, it's a lot scarcer at high altitudes.
Alright, so I just ran a relatively short distance, just over 4 miles. Normally, I would feel great afterwards, but right now I just feel so tired and out of breath. Like the air is so thin up here. Each breath just feels like shallow.
According to our man T. Robbins, the first step in overcoming your limiting beliefs is to identify them. People are usually held back by beliefs about themselves, other people, or the world. Beliefs like, I don't have enough time to train for a marathon, or if I don't finish at a fast enough pace, people will think I'm a loser. Look for these types of thought patterns in yourself. Identify them. The next step in getting over limiting beliefs is to take responsibility. People who are controlled by their limiting beliefs tend to think that they have no control over their lives. Things simply happen to them and they suffer. While it's true, you might not be able to control what happens to you, what you can control is how you react. Now, if I had let my limiting beliefs control me, I would have given up on running a marathon when I settled in Mexico.
Beautiful, gigantic animals that I will not come any closer to.
By then it was October and I hadn't even signed up for a race yet. I searched online and the only marathon that I had time to prepare for before the end of the year was in the northern city of Monterrey, an 8-hour drive from where I moved to. And I was living in an area surrounded by steep terrain, packs of wild dogs, and construction sites. Not exactly a friendly training route. Plus I was at an altitude of about 6,000 feet, meaning I was getting about 21% less oxygen, which definitely took its toll. That run snuck up on me. Honestly, I felt pretty good up until like mile 12 and a half. Then I started to cramp up a bit, and I think that was because I was dehydrated. Still, finished the run. Once I did, came home, got inside, and I was so thirsty, I chugged a whole bottle of Gator Light. I went up and tried to take a shower to clean off and warm up a bit. I was in so much pain, like I had to sit down in the shower. It doesn't have a tub, it's a standing shower. So I was just like curled up in a ball like this. When I stood up, I projectile vomited bright orange fluid all over the shower. I took this video after running the longest I had run up to that point, 15.5 miles. I don't know if you can tell, but my lips are blue here, and I ended up taking a visit to the emergency room because my wife was afraid that I had given myself altitude sickness. It turned out to be just a case of overtraining, but I learned my lesson and began to experiment with energy gels and bringing water with me on my longer runs. And it worked like a charm.
All right, run done. 18.64 miles, 30 kilometers, and I feel good. The adjustments that I made this week helped out a lot.
Now, this was my longest run before the marathon, but it was only 18.5 miles. On race day, I would have to go 8 miles further than I had ever gone before. And I didn't know if I could do it. But that's part 3 of the Robinator system to overcome limiting beliefs. You must let go of certainty. Certainty is a hell of a drug. It's the thing that gives us comfort, but it's also what holds us back. Yes, you may hate your job, but that's a known discomfort, something you're used to. Quitting your job would be an unknown discomfort, and that's a whole lot scarier. After months of preparation, we loaded up the car and hit the road for our journey to Monterrey. My parents had even come all the way down from Cleveland to cheer me on. Unfortunately, that's when the bad luck started. First, we got a flat tire. Then, our 8-hour drive to Monterrey turned into a 13-hour drive because we got stuck in standstill traffic for 5 hours. It began to feel like a greater force was trying to keep us from getting to Monterrey. In Mexican folklore, there exist magical beings called duendes. Gnomes, elves, goblins, however you may translate it, they're mischievous little creatures that love to cause chaos. But why is that relevant to the story? Well, just don't forget I mentioned it. Eventually, the trucks did move and we made it to our Airbnb at around 3 a.m. We didn't have a lot of time to be tourists in Monterrey. I just tried to rest and fuel up before the next day's race. The day had finally come, and I was nervous. I think I slept maybe a total of 1 hour the night before the race.
It's like 6:25 in the morning. Starts in about 20 minutes. Feeling pretty nervous.
As I approached the starting line, I scoped out my competition.
A lot of other runners that look like legit runners, and maybe I look the part, but I feel like I've just like haphazardly collected running gear over the time. I don't feel put together like these professionals out here, but we're going for it.
Fueled by 4 a.m. coffee and oatmeal, I started to warm up. I tried to remind myself that my goal was simple: finish. While I would have liked to do it in under 4.5 hours, as long as I didn't throw in the towel before making it to the finish line, I would have accomplished my goal. As I lined up at my expected finish time, I came to a grave realization. The headphones that I brought for the race didn't fit my iPhone's jack, so I had no other choice than to raw dog the entire marathon. The Duende had struck again. But I didn't let that stop me. I'd come this far, and I wasn't going to let a little setback like that get the best of me.
Six miles. So far, so good. About halfway mark. Still feeling good. Just past 2/3. Feeling good. Kilometer 33. Officially set a record for my personal best. So that's good.
The lack of headphones was not holding me back. Actually, it gave me a chance to focus on my breathing, and I got into a good rhythm. As I basked in the shade of the gorgeous mountain peaks surrounding Monterey, I got to know the city. The energy was incredible. There was no shortage of strangers cheering me on along the race route to make me feel supported along the way. I was staying hydrated, I was keeping pace, and how could I complain when this guy was running without shoes? Everything was going well. Then shit hit the fan.
5K left to go, and my legs are just killing me. I had to walk. I'm in a lot of pain. I just want to get this over with. Ow. 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 Alright, just 2K left. So I'm gonna finish strong and start running. Right now. Right now. Now.
Each step was excruciatingly painful. I began to think that there was a stress fracture in my foot, and for a moment, I was considering giving up. I thought maybe I just didn't train hard enough, or maybe I just wasn't cut out for running a marathon. Step 4 of overcoming limiting beliefs is to change your self-talk. You know that tiny voice in your head that tells you all the reasons why you can't do something? Get rid of it. It doesn't serve you. You're in control here, and you get to decide what that voice says. You should be cheering yourself on like Mexican strangers cheering on a gringo from the sidelines of a marathon. I wasn't going to let any limiting beliefs, or fractured foot bones, or duendes get the best of me. I was going to finish that race if it was the last thing I did. So I started running again. And you can tell by the video I was in a lot of pain. But I ignored that, and just focused on the mission at hand. And then, I saw him. The Duende. He was there, mocking me. As if he thought I wasn't going to finish, and he wanted a front row seat to my failure. Nah, that wasn't going to happen. With a newly ignited vigor, I charged ahead until finally... Everybody reacts differently to crossing a finish line. Some put their hands up in a victory pose. Some throw up a fist bump. Some people kiss the ground. Looking at my reaction, you wouldn't think I was very happy to have finished. The truth is, I was in a lot of pain, and I was a bit disappointed that I didn't finish in under 4.5 hours. But after I cooled down and processed what had happened, I realized that I hadn't ran that marathon for myself. I ran for the 10-year-old boy who always finished the mile last in gym class. I had just finished the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And frankly, I kicked my limiting beliefs ass.